Durant's got Ginobili on him. Give and go. Curry.
Yeah.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We talking about practice.
Nope.
You're serious.
Yeah.
Give it up. You get it back.
Oh, beautiful. Give back.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Give and Go podcast presented by Sport.media. My name is Daniel Freeman and I'm joined by Dylan Brown and Jared Gardner. No Jed again this week. He'll be back soon. Some car issues for Jed, unfortunately. Before we get into the big topic of the week, which is the Jimmy Butler trade, we're going to start by some good news from what looked like a pretty horrible injury. Caris LeVert, so it's been diagnosed with a subtalar dislocation of the right foot, whatever that means, but it's not as bad as what it looked like. So he's had no fractures and only moderate ligament damage, doesn't require surgery, which is the big thing. Is expected to return this season.
Yeah.
So
About 2 months usually the time out for that type of injury, and the only problem that I've heard that'll be with it when he's coming back would be a little bit of stiffness, but they'll work him back into the rotation and get him minutes gradually. So
all things considered,
news,
that is the best result we could have hoped for after what looked like a horrific injury. So very good news for the Nets and for Caris LeVert, particularly considering just how good he'd been this season. He was probably, I'd say, top 3 in the most improved.
Yeah,
Debated be up there with Levine and with Richardson, so he's been very, very good. All right, we are going to get to the big news of the week. Justin Patton is now on the 76ers and Jared Bayless is on the Timberwolves, which, Brownie, this has completely shaken up the league. Are the Warriors still locks after this big trade?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a big sign. I don't know.
A big sign. The dynamics of the league have completely changed. All right, Butler and Justin Patton will head to the 76ers in exchange for Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Jared Bayless, and a 2022 second-round pick. Butler hasn't debuted yet, but is expected to make his debut for the 76ers tomorrow against the Magic, which without a doubt will be the most watched Magic game of the season. They're going to be absolutely loving it. They're going to be selling tickets all over the place. Just before we get into it, just initial reactions. What's your first thoughts after you heard that Butler was going to be on the 76ers?
I love it.
Love it for the 76ers side?
Yeah, I love that trade for him. I think he's going to bring... I rate Butler very highly, so I just like the signing.
I love it more for Minnesota.
Okay.
I think the two players that Philadelphia gave up in Covington and Dario Saric, they're two players that are really important to how the Sixers have run the last couple of seasons, and they're two guys that they can't really replace with the guys coming off the bench. Like Saric's pretty much going to be replaced by Muscala,
Wilson Chandler or Muscala.
And like it's an interesting one, I think. And we've seen how Cat has played over the last 2 games without Jimmy Butler, and I think it's a better move for Minnesota than it is for Philadelphia.
Okay. It's probably a controversial view, but I like it. I'd say my 2 takeaways are that 76ers fans seem almost more nervous than they are excited just because of Jimmy's history and what he's done to 2 locker rooms now. And look, I don't mind what they got, the Timberwolves, but I think they should have taken that Richardson deal to start with. I think Josh Richardson...
Even the 4 first-rounders from Houston, I would have taken that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just so late first-rounders, I'm not sure. But you could have packaged that for something else, though, definitely. But, yeah, look, I would have taken Richardson, but we are going to get into it from the 76ers perspective. Then we're going to look at it from Jimmy's perspective and then the T-Wolves. So the 76ers... The big thing this does is it gives them 3 top 25, arguably top 20, with Simmons probably right on that edge, players in the league, which really only the Warriors can say that they've got that, which automatically, I mean, we talked about them when we did our Kings of the East 2 weeks ago. Are they there with right now with the Raptors, the Celtics, the Bucks? We said no because we were worried about what we'd seen to start with. This certainly puts them in the conversation to come out of the East.
It definitely does. It's just there's going to be... It's going to be real interesting to see how this team shapes up over the rest of this season. Brett Brown, I saw an interview yesterday, came out and said there's a lot that they have to figure out with this trade because obviously they've still got Mark Fultz on the roster and they're still trying to figure out how to implement him into the system and have it work
And
how they've
should
expected
they implement him into the system?
And that's, you got to look at it from that perspective because Butler's not going to be a spot-up shooter.
No.
He's going to be a ball-dominant guard.
He's a just above average league
Yeah.
shooter, but he's not a knockdown. He's not going to be your spacing
Of course, yeah.
guy.
He's a guy that wants the ball in his hands. Simmons is a guy that needs the ball in his hands to distribute.
Yeah.
Fultz is also a guy that is better with the ball in his hands to distribute.
Yeah.
So you can't have 3 out of the 5 players on the court wanting the ball in their hands every possession.
Yep. And I think the main thing that he does bring is that he's a closer. He's exactly what they've lacked. We saw last year against the Celtics in that series how they just down the stretch, they just fell apart.
Yeah.
They don't have a closer. So he brings, just watch his game against the Lakers earlier this year. Jimmy knows how to win. He's got that killer instinct. I think that's probably why you like him so much because he's got that.
He'll just go, he'll put the dagger straight through an opposition's heart. He's just that good.
Yep, exactly. And he makes big plays when they need to be made. He might not be the most amazing player for the whole 4 quarters, but when you need it, Jimmy's the guy you give the ball to, which Simmons is not going to be that guy right now because he can't create his own shot, unless it's a really close look at the rim. It's not like he's a threat anywhere outside the paint. And Embiid's just too easy to double team. You can just double team him, which is what kept happening. They force the ball out of his hands, make someone else win the game, which if you're an opposition coach, that's perfect. If Wilson Chandler beats you, fine. That's how you live with that. You just got to take it. And I think if you look at it as well, so the 76ers, they ranked dead last in the league last year in offensive rating in the 4th quarter. Over all 4 quarters, so for the whole season, they were 12th. So that's the drop-off they had in the clutch when they needed it. They now have their big-time scorer. But yeah, the big question is Fultz, as you mentioned. In my opinion, they really should look to put a trade package together to get one more player, especially that power forward. Yeah, at that power forward position. Does Fultz in any scenario work? Let's just say they do keep him. Right now, this is all we've got. Does he work in a starting lineup of, for example, if you go Fultz, Redick, Butler, Simmons, Embiid, or do you take Fultz out of that starting lineup?
You're gonna have to have him come off the bench.
Yeah,
you can't. I don't see how he fits because he can't shoot. He relies on having the ball.
Yeah,
there's only one ball.
Yeah,
so you'd have to come off the bench. The only issue I've got is his confidence is down, and that's why they were starting him.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an issue.
Yep.
Well, it could be a matter of what they have been doing in terms of starting him, bringing him off pretty early into the game, bringing on a shooter. I think it was Redick when he was coming off the bench.
Even Shaman as well.
But bringing one of those guys off the bench. So Marco Fultz is still starting, but then don't overlap his minutes. I think we talked about it last week. I think it's like 9 minutes. Him and Simmons have overlapped for this season, like average.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the way to go. I just don't want him and Simmons on the court at the same time because I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Yep. I think the other thing is that we've always talked about trust the process. This time last year, we were saying that Philly's ahead of schedule. And even towards the playoffs, they were not expected to be this good. But they started the season behind schedule because we're all of a sudden, hang on, these Bucks are really good. Yeah. The Raptors, if they keep Kawhi, are going to be really good. The Celtics are really good. The Pacers are really good. And so they've made this move. But now the time frame of we're saying Embiid and Simmons are going to be this good for 8 years. They've got this stretch of dominance coming. Now they have a big decision because Butler, you would expect they are intending to re-sign him because otherwise it's quite an expensive rental for a 1 year. Yeah. He intends apparently to re-sign. I don't think you make this trade unless you've got a wink, wink, nod, nod, I will re-sign kind of vibe from Butler. But if they do give him that contract, which they're going to be able to give him the 5-year deal where the other team's only the 4-year deal, it's going to be around $190 million, which means that he's going to be on that last year of that contract, he's going to be earning $35 million plus at 35 years old. For a guy who's only played 70-plus games in 2 of his 7 seasons, he's been run into the... He's 29 right now. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't realize
he's been run
that.
into the ground by Tibbs at 2 different clubs now. I don't know. It's just a huge risk.
Last that long.
And he's already had lots of lower leg injuries. So I just think it's really interesting how it changes the time frame. It's no longer time to trust the process. It's time to put it to the test. Yeah. And right now, I don't know if they've got enough pieces to even come out of the East, and I don't think they've got enough to challenge the
Because
Warriors.
the East has gotten so much more stronger now.
Yep.
It's looking like
The top of the East is better than the top of the West outside of the Warriors.
The West has gotten a lot weaker now.
Yeah. It's just that one dominant
One team, and that's it.
So I don't know. And then on top of that, you've got Embiid's going to be making $33 million in the 2022-23. So that's similar to where Butler would be making that big money. And then Simmons is going to be a restricted free agent in 2020. So you're going to have 3 guys on huge money, 2 of which are going to be coming into their prime, but 1 of which at 35. Who knows what Butler looks like at 35? Not many guys keep up there, especially. He doesn't rely solely on athleticism, but he needs to be able to attack the rim because he's not a knockdown shooter.
I think it'd be easier for Jimmy Butler to enhance his jump shot over another guy who's come through his whole career without a jump shot and then able to.
Oh yeah.
So I think he can turn into that kind of player when needed, because we know Simmons is going to be the guy who needs the ball in his hands. We don't know what's going to happen with his jump shot, but I think Jimmy can turn into a knockdown shooter if they need him to.
Yeah,
but this is years down the line.
Butler's already transformed himself. He was originally just a defender.
Yeah.
And he's turned himself into a over 20-point.
We know he's a hard worker, so I think he'll make himself fit into this team because there's just so much talent, and you can't pass up playing with those types of players.
All right, you are 76's GM. Are you making one more trade?
Yes.
Who?
Fultz.
Yeah. Who's going to take him? This is I 100% agree with you. I think I would combine, if it was me, now I don't know if this works 100%.
Get the trade machine out?
Yep. Oh, I did try, but Kevin Love's not available until December. But I would offer the Cavs Fultz, that Miami first-round pick, and Zaire Smith, who obviously won't play this season, but he was still a high draft pick. I would offer those 3 for Love and Korver. Korver gives shooting, which is something they need. And I honestly think that if you've got a lineup of run Simmons at point, Redick, Butler, Love, and Embiid, that is a really good lineup. And
I would probably pick them.
Yeah, well, that's pretty close.
They have that lineup. I would probably pick them and come out of the East.
I mean, they won't have the depth that the Celtics or the Raptors will have, but they have better depth than the Warriors would have. Yeah. TJ can still run that second unit. They'd have Korver for shooting, Chandler, Muscala, Amir Johnson, and that is a buyout destination. If you've got another Ilyasova or a Bellinelli, they are going to want to come play for that team.
Yeah. The only thing about that trade is I don't think Cleveland will take it just because they've got Colin Sexton.
But if Cleveland right now have no young pieces, if you gave them, I know Fultz may be a bust. If you saw his free throw yesterday, I think it was where he slipped, double pumped. It was just horrible. But I still, he's a number 1 pick, and I still think that we're not at the point yet where it's completely over. Zaire Smith could be really good, and that Miami unprotected first-round pick. I'd do that. Exactly. They just want assets. Yeah. Love's nearly 30. He's not going to be part. And Korver, is he 35, 34, around that? He's not going to be part of that.
Looks about 17. But...
Yeah, with his Justin Bieber haircut. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think the Cavs would consider it. Not just Fultz, but if you throw those other 2 in.
Yeah, I think they'd have to package something. And I think there could even be a third team that would come into the mix to take on Fultz, and the Cavs would get something else back.
Yeah.
So, I just can't see the Cavs going hard for Fultz and giving up Love and Korver for him.
The other one, who I think would be perfect, but that I don't think that they're going to get him, is Beal. I think Beal would work perfectly.
For sure.
But I don't think they're going to be able to put together a package for Beal, especially at Beal's age as well. No. Beal's surprisingly young. I'm pretty sure he's only 25. You think he's older, but he's actually not that much older. And the Wizards, Ernie Grunfeld or whoever their owner is, seems content to ride off into the sunset over a cliff with Wall and Beal. So I don't really think they're going to trade. But look, Fultz is alarming. I mean, he took 7 threes in his first 3 games this year. He's taken 0 in his past 7. His free throw percentages started okay. Well, not okay, but it was high 60s. It's dropped all the way down to 57%. And over the last 7 games, he's shooting just 27% on jumpers outside the paint, not including the 3. So
he's just fragile. I think he's just damaged goods, mentally and physically. I think
It's really,
some
really,
problems
really
to deal with.
sad, and it's alarming because that's not the guy we saw at college.
He had so much potential.
Exactly. All right, nice and quick before we get to the T-Wolves. What does this mean for Jimmy Butler in terms of that contract? His legacy, whether he likes it or not, he's a closer, he's a really good player. Right now, his legacy is a cancer to a locker room. He has ruined 2 locker rooms. Ruined.
Yeah, see, I think...
No, you agree, disagree?
No,
All right,
I disagree with that.
Yep, go for it.
I think he was a cancer to the Minnesota locker room because of the players he had around him. I think he just didn't work. He didn't work well with those players. He's all heart. He said that, and he's worked so hard. Whereas you look at some of those guys on the Minnesota roster, and you look at Cat, and it's just
Got all the talent, but
I think you can have so much talent, and you can be so highly rated coming into the league, but then if you don't work hard, then there's no point.
Well, Wiggins just shows up for the paychecks. That's it.
Okay, well, Brownie's got inside knowledge. He only shows up for the
Well,
paychecks.
let's be honest. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, fair enough.
He got his paycheck and that's it. He's done. His production's been down ever since.
It's very true. I'm not convinced. I love Butler as a player. He's left 2 locker rooms in absolute tatters. And I would not... The good thing for Philly is if it doesn't work and he doesn't get on with Simmons and Embiid, you cut your losses, go, look, we tried it, we're not re-signing you. So at least they're not locked into that 5-year deal yet.
See, I also don't think on the 2 teams that Butler's been with, there hasn't been a guy with the ego as big as Embiid.
Yeah. And we'll just have to see how Jimmy... Generally, I don't really know, but I think guys who are like that, who like to talk smack, I actually think they respect it if someone gives it back to them. They might not at the time. They'll probably fight at the time, but afterwards they'll be like, oh, he actually came back at me like he's got some guts.
If you want to win, then Jimmy will get along with you. But if he sees that you're not about winning, then that's where issues arise.
Hide Markelle Fultz. That's all I'm going to say. Hide Markelle Fultz. All right, just quickly from the Timberwolves perspective. So the final offers have been revealed as it was Eric Gordon, Nene, and 2 first-round picks. That was the final offer from Houston. Obviously, the previous one was the 4 first-rounders. Pelicans were offering Mirotic and a first-rounder, and Heat way back. This wasn't on the table at the end, but Richardson and a first-rounder. Did they get the best deal? For me, Richardson and a first-rounder in a heartbeat, but...
What was the second one?
The second one was the Pelicans, Mirotic and a first-rounder. The Rockets was Gordon, Nene, and 2 first-rounders.
I'll say I think they got the best deal from what was available. I think they could have taken. Richardson was one that I think he might have improved so well because of the system he's playing in, the team he's playing with. Would he have got the chances offensively had he been on Minnesota playing with Cat? I don't think so. So I think although he's been a great player this season for Miami, I don't think that would have translated to Minnesota.
Fair enough, Brownie.
I like the deal they got, but I would have considered the Rockets deal.
The 4 first-rounders or the Eric Gordon, Nene?
Nene, yeah.
Yep. And for the T-Wolves, look, they got rid of the problem, Butler. I don't think they got rid of the big problem, which is Tibbs. So as long as Tibbs is there, Tibbs' one calling card is defense. So that was his big thing. He had a top 10 defense at the Bulls in 4 of his 5 seasons, top 5 in 3 of them. At the Timberwolves, 27th, and 30th in the league in defensive rating. The game's passed him by, and that's fine. You've just got to admit that he was a brilliant defensive coach in a different era, and it's changed now.
He just needs to learn that there are more than 8 players on a roster.
That as well, exactly. But it's just a bit sad for Minnesota is we're back to exactly where they were in 2016, except now Cat and Wiggins are going to be making $27 million each next season instead of on rookie contracts, and Zach LaVine, who's now averaging 27 points per game, is on the Bulls.
I'm pretty sure I saw something they turned... Levine, Markkanen, and Chris Dunn into I can't remember what the player was, but a player in a second-round pick
or something.
It's something ridiculous. But they could have had Levine and Markkanen on their roster.
Yeah, And that team that still had Cat, Wiggins, and Levine only won 31 games. So, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. All right, final grades from a Philly perspective. A being or A plus the best. F is a fail. What are you giving it for Philly?
For how I like the trade?
Yeah.
I'll give it an A.
A?
I'll give it a B right now.
Mine's a B plus because I think they need to make another move. If it's coming with another move, then it could get to the A's. From Minnesota perspective?
I'd say B plus.
B plus?
I'll give it an A.
Yeah, A for me, just because they got rid of Jimmy. Plus, I think
You got a problem with Jimmy.
Yeah,
You
look,
don't
I
like
do.
him.
Covington is... We know what we're going to get from Covington. I reckon there's untapped potential in Dario.
Yeah.
He was a ridiculously good passer overseas.
Yeah.
I think he has some poor man's Jokic level passing, which is not a bad thing because Jokic is probably the best in the game. So I think that for a guy who averages like 2 career assists, there is so much more that they can untap with his passing ability. And he hasn't really been shooting that well to start the year, so he can improve on that as well.
Not foul anybody here on the dribble. It's going to be James. Here it is. See, it's under 3 seconds to go. Throws up the floater. Good night, Cleveland. That is for you.
All right, on the clock, Jared, first question. I'm going to actually remember the clock this week.
Yeah.
First question. Are the Knicks winning too many games for their own good?
The short answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
I think you look at this team and there are a lot of great players. And just looking at it, you think about it, Kevin Knox, who they drafted in the top 10 this year, has been their 3rd best rookie so far in this campaign. They found guys like Alonzo Trier has been incredible. Mitchell Robinson's been great defensively. Tim Hardaway's been a breakout guy who's scoring 23 points a game.
He's too good. I think no one's going to take that contract, but anyway, keep going.
I really like him just as an out-and-out scorer. I think it could become interesting when Porzingis comes back and he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much. He's going to jack up a lot of shots that he shouldn't. The one thing I do really like about this team is they're making themselves a destination for free agents next year. We'll say, look, we've got a great defensive center in Mitchell Robinson. We've got Kristaps Porzingis. We've got Alonzo Trier.
Durant.
Come to New York.
All right, fair enough. See, I think that they should be going for that number 1 pick or close to it. I just don't think there's any point without Porzingis trying to win.
If it was a small market team, I'd say, yep, definitely. But because they're New York and you get to play 41 games at Madison Square Gardens every season, 100% go for it. Go for those big name free agents. Kevin Durant's the number 1 guy, I reckon, for them.
Quick impromptu on the clock question. Is Durant going to be at the Knicks next season?
Hope so.
No. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Brownie, Rockets and Melo are reportedly preparing to part ways. Is this it for Melo's NBA career, or will someone else give him a contract?
Well, he has shown that he can adapt, but he's not like his usage rate is way down. He's career low at 20.5%.
Yeah.
But his points per game and that are way down. And he looks old, slow, a little bit overweight. It's not looking good, but it's not all his fault. Like the Rockets lost Trevor Ariza, they lost Embiid Butte.
Yep.
Like
he's
never been known for his defense. I think someone would give him a chance, but it's not looking good.
Who would give him a chance?
Maybe the Lakers, they might. But I can't see anyone else really giving him.
I'd throw Boston into that mix.
On
a minimum.
You reckon Boston?
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to win and signs Carmelo Anthony now
The concerning
has
factor
lost their brain.
Just put him on the Warriors. Who cares at this point?
The concerning factor for Melo is the fact that
Keep going.
the fact that Houston are only paying him $2 million
Yeah, I know.
and are willing to
And
say
they're
go.
willing to say,
like
"Go
only
away."
$2 million.
Yeah.
And they want to get rid of him.
Yeah. Look, Melo was a all-time Hall of Fame fantastic player. He's not that player anymore, and I don't think if he ends up on a team, I think he's either going to be on like the Cavs or something, or wait until the playoffs and see if a team down the bottom wants to take a gamble on you, just to see if it works. Jared, what do we make of Utah's 7-6 start to the season?
I don't really know what to make of it at this point. I think that they've gotten better the last few games. I think they've won 3 in a row. They're a really interesting team because, you look at them last season. I think they won 48 games last year, and then didn't really do much in the off season. Grayson Allen was their only real in through the draft. So I don't know whether they're still. Oh, I don't know whether they improve to become a 50-win team or they're going to...
It was kind of just, we thought it was like natural development, but right now we're just not really seeing it.
Yeah, I just don't really know where the offense comes from. I think Rudy Gobert's been great.
Outside of Donovan.
Outside of Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles can do it every now and then. He's not a 25-point scorer that they're probably looking for. So I think there's a lot to ride out with this Jazz team.
Yeah.
I think they're still a playoff team in the West, but I just don't think the development is what we expected at the start of the season.
Yeah, and last year they had the second best defense in the league. Right now they're 14th. They're giving up just under 10 more points per game than they did last season. So that was their calling card as well, which I think they've been okay. It's just a lot of these teams, as we talked about last week, there's those 5 teams that are still sitting outside the playoff seeding, which we expected to be doing better. All right, one team that isn't sitting outside the playoff seedings because they're second in the West right now, Brownie. The Trailblazers are 10-3, but have they shown us anything to believe they're any different from the team that got absolutely destroyed by the Pelicans in the first round last season?
Well, they've looked a lot better, but honestly, I don't think they're a serious threat. I think they're just on a little bit of a hot streak, although they have had good wins against the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks
the Celtics,
in particular.
But it's the same.
It's just hard to trust them when it's the exact same roster.
Like the way they bailed out last year.
Yeah.
They've still got pretty much the exact same roster. I don't see them going any further. I think it's just another. I think the West, if anything's gotten weaker, so it makes them look a bit better.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're really good, but in a playoff match, like, I just don't know. They do have a top 5 offense and top 5 defense, which is the only other team to do that is the Bucks at the moment. So, and as I said, they're beating the Bucks, the Celtics, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Lakers. Then they lost to the Wizards, which is a little bit out there, all things considered. But no, they've been really good. It's just hard when we've got that bias of what happened last season in the playoffs. All right, this is to everyone. Who is the second best team in the West? This is a can of worm questions in one sentence, but who is the second best team?
I'm going to say Denver Nuggets.
Denver? Yep.
It should be the Lakers.
Oh, my gosh.
It should be. By the end of the season, the West is a lot weaker, and the Lakers have got the best player in the world. You would think that LeBron could carry this team to be a second-place team behind the Warriors. Look at all the teams. They don't have a bona fide superstar like LeBron. You would think realistically they should be second.
What's your actual answer?
I'm being serious. That should be.
Okay. Right now, who is the second best team in the West?
I'd have to say the Blazers or the Nuggets are up there. But realistically, by the end of the season, they should get their stuff together and be second.
Yeah. So I'd say now...
Look at Jimmy Butler's left the West.
Yeah.
And a couple other stars. I can't... Off the top
Everyone's left. There's a couple who've actually gone to the East. The top of the East certainly is way stronger. Yeah, I'd say right now, Denver. I still think Houston's going to face Golden State in the finals, in the conference finals.
The way they're playing at the moment.
Yeah, look, to be honest, the defense is alarming, but for me, the offense is a little bit more alarming. So last year, they were one of the greatest offensive teams we've ever seen, not just in a season, ever. They're currently scoring 10 less points per game than they were last year. In saying that,
same clip.
I still just trust Harden and Chris Paul and Capella over.
They're all a year older, and Capella's got his max money now, so that changes things.
All right, stop talking me out of it. I'm not convinced. I just trust
I
Harden.
don't trust CP3 not pulling another hamstring.
No, that is very, very true.
'Cause you're hot and you're cold, you're yes then you're no, you're in, you're out, you're up and you're down, you're wrong when it's...
All right, hot and cold. Brownie, kick us off with your hot.
I've got the Pelicans. Had a very impressive win over the Raptors. Had several players in double digits. I think it was Davis.
Each one more as well. Dropped
Yeah.
30 odd.
So pretty good from them.
Yeah, not bad. And again, they've been one of those ones who are sitting outside. They're currently in, test my maths, 11th position in the West at 7 wins, 6 losses. You'd expect they would probably just scrape in, but it's going to be close. But against the Raptors, that was a really, really strong win. Jared?
Andre Drummond.
Yep.
Anywhere
to get a Drummond plug in.
Just over the last 7 days, he's been averaging 23 points, 17.3 rebounds, 2 assists, but then 2.3 steals, 2.3 blocks a game.
Yep.
He's having a great season, 19.5 points, 16.5 rebounds a game for the season. I think he's benefiting from having Blake Griffin around.
Alrighty, my hot is the LA Clippers, 8-5, 4th in the West, with victories over the Bucks and the Warriors in the last 2 games. In particular, to Montrezl Harrell, who is one of my favourite players in the league. Slightly biased because I am a Clippers fan, but I just love him. I think he's one of the best players at finishing through contact. It's honestly more surprising when he doesn't convert an N1 opportunity than when he does. He has so much energy he brings to every single game. Him and Beverly are just the heartbeat of that Clippers team. He's averaging career high numbers for rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, and he's increased his points per game average in all 4 of his seasons in the league. He is, and in particular his last 2 games, 26 points and 9 boards versus the Bucks, 23 points, 8 boards and 4 blocks versus the Warriors. He's such a good player and he probably doesn't get enough recognition. Cold, Brownie.
My cold is a little bake on John Wall and the Wizards. They're going 4-9. Wall's got his max money and he just does not care at all. He looks unfit. He's not leading the team like a max player should. It's just not. They need to blow that up. We've been saying this for about 3-4 years. Blow that thing up. Send Bill wherever.
Because you're not trading Wall. Nobody's taking that contract.
No one's taking that contract. He's going to earn $44 million or something in the 4th year of that. Good luck.
That's worse than the Blake Griffin contract.
Blake Griffin contract's good. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, gosh.
My call for this week is the Miami Heat. I think they've gone 0-3 over the last couple of days, and I think it all started against Detroit.
Missed out on Butler as well.
Yeah, of course. Against Detroit, they were comfortably ahead. They won the game in overtime, but missed a lot of free throws in the 4th quarter down the stretch when they should have iced the game, put the Pistons away.
Yep.
And then have lost to some good teams, lost to the Pacers by 8 points, lost to the Sixers by 10 points, but then a loss to the Wizards. Doesn't look good.
It's not good when you lose to the Wizards. Definitely not good. All right, my cold, Brandon Ingram. Sorry, mate. After you got roasted by Brownie last week, now you're getting roasted with some stats by me. So he's averaging 15 points per game, which is lower than last season. We talked about he was almost
him to go up.
Yep, he was in conversation for. I think some of us said he was going to be most improved. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure one of us at least had him for most improved. His 3-point percentage is down as well. His assist numbers have dropped off. And Brownie probably watched more Lakers than I have, but he just seems to be settling more. He doesn't seem to be. He's got so much length. He should either be attacking the rim and creating a shot or finding an open shot for a teammate rather than settling for deep jumpers. Would you agree with that? Or
very correct.
Yeah.
And
does he need to be traded? Yes.
Yes.
Is that a byproduct though of LeBron ball handling and getting him an open shot that he's not?
I think it is a little bit because watching the Lakers in those final possessions against Atlanta, the players got very passive and just watched.
Which is what we keep talking about with the Lakers in that 4th quarter. Their offense falls apart.
They weren't even moving. They just gave LeBron the ball and went to the corners and sat there. So can't just roast Ingram on that because the rest of them do that. But
and even against the Mavs in a game earlier this season, I'm pretty sure they were leading big in the 4th and then they let them come all the way back and just ended up winning. So it's something Ingram and the whole team as well need to work on. Aussies in action. Simmons, has he taken a 3 yet?
No threes yet.
All right, what else has he done?
In a win over the Pacers, he had 16 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He had 22 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and the one was the biggest of them all in OT to help them win against
yes,
Charlotte.
That's right. Yep.
Then against Miami, in a solid win, he had 13.7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. So
Solid week.
He seems to just get...
Yeah, he just
similar
racks up
stats.
these numbers.
Just 10, 10, and 10.
Butler, is
roughly.
it going to affect him positively in terms of his numbers, or is he going to lose a little bit of the ball in his hand so his numbers will drop a bit?
You might see a little bit of a decrease.
Yeah.
You see that with Cat and Wiggins with
Yep,
their numbers. So
exactly.
I think it's going to happen when you add an all-star, regardless of who that all-star is. But
Yep. Jingles.
A really good week from Jingles. Started off a bit
Headband
slower.
Jingles as well in one of the games.
Started off a bit slow against Dallas. 6.6 assists, 3 steals, a couple of rebounds as well. But then on Friday against Boston, 27 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, a block and a steal, 5 of 9 from 3. And then the game against Memphis yesterday, where we saw the emergence of Headband
Joe.
19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 of 6 from 3. And yeah, he's...
Clay Thompson puts a headband on, scores
All about the
60
headband.
points. Joe Ingles puts the headband on, he's back. It's the headband.
everyone's
gotta be the
rocking
headband.
headbands these days.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
They're all
it's-
for injuries though. They all cop cuts and then they have to put the headband
Siakam
on.
has a headband as well, and he's been really good. LeBron had a headband on and had a
Majority
decent
of the
game.
Lakers team had them on against Atlanta.
Yep. Montrezl Harrell has one of those tied up headband thingos. I'm
That's
telling
good.
you.
I like that. I like the
Yeah,
tied up ones.
Drew has that as well.
Yeah.
Drew dropped nearly 30 points.
Yeah.
Wear a headband, people. we have discovered the secret to NBA success. All right, Exum.
Exum had 7 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists in their loss to Toronto.
Yep.
Only had a few minutes. And then against Boston, in I think 2 minutes from memory, he had a rebound and assist in 2 minutes against Boston. So he didn't really get much of an
And
opportunity.
I think Mike Conley gave him a whirlwind tour with a step back in that game as well. I saw one of the highlights. So not great from Exum, but decent week. Paddy Thrills.
Paddy Thrills, yeah. We're starting to see a bit of a decline for Paddy Thrills.
no.
So started the week
Headband
off.
time.
started the week off with 20 points and 4 rebounds against Miami.
Decent
but
outing.
then the return of Derek White to the Spurs lineup, gradually seeing his minutes decrease. In the game against Houston, played 29 minutes, but only 5 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of assists, and a block as well, which we don't see very often from Paddy Thrills. But
Is that 2 blocks for the year now?
Yeah, I think it is. It's averaging
That's got to
0.4
be a
game.
career high.
And then, against Sacramento, minutes decreased even more. Only played 22 minutes, 5 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and a couple of steals.
Yep. All right, Delhi didn't play in 3 of the 4 games this week. Played in the blowout versus the Warriors, which, yes, there was a blowout. They won against the Warriors, and he had 0 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, so not great. Baines had... not very good week, to be perfectly honest. 2 points and 2 boards in 11 minutes versus the Nuggets. 4 points, 4 boards versus the Suns. 5 points and 2 boards versus the Jazz. 2 points and 2 boards versus the Blazers. So not great from Bainesy. Thonmaker,
Yes.
have we found him?
He had 1 game
Okay.
of 6 minutes in garbage time against
Against-
Golden State.
yep.
Got 8 points and a rebound. So
That's all right. You're better
did
than
well.
Delhi.
that's it.
And that's
So
it. That's all he's
He
done.
didn't play against Portland, Clippers, or
Yeah.
Denver. So
Broke off.
1 minute, did nothing.
Well, he played a minute. Bolden's played in 2 games this week. He had 5 points and 5 boards, 1 assist in his 11 minutes versus the Hornets, 3 rebounds and 3 steals, no score against the Grizzlies. Didn't play in their last game. It'd be interesting to see if he gets more playing time now that Saric is gone. Maybe there might be a little bit more time at that 4 spot. Our G League boys.
Yeah, so some good games from guys in the G League. Mitch Creek, the headline, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals.
Yep.
In 36 minutes, and then backed it up with 10 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, and then 17 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists. So great week from Mitch Creek in the G League. Deng Adele is playing about 30 minutes a game for Toronto's G League team.
D-League, we've invented a new league.
10 points, 7 rebounds against the Knicks. 8 points, a couple of rebounds, and 3 assists against the Nets. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists against the Bulls, and 15 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists against Atlanta's G League team. In a game where they scored, I think it was 134 points. They absolutely put Atlanta to the sword.
Oh, well, at least Atlanta's consistent.
That's Isaac Humphrey's team, who we'll get into now. He has had a good week as well. 17 points, 9 boards, 11 and 5 in another game, and then 5 and 1 in that blowout against Toronto.
All right, Sweet Lou with our first play. The reigning sixth man of the year with the dagger versus the Bucks for the best team in LA, the Clippers, who are in 4th spot in the West behind Sweet Lou.
And our second play comes to you courtesy of Domantas Sabonis, christening Joel Embiid on the pick and roll. Just would have liked to see a bit of a flop from Joel in this one. Could have got Sabonis ejected maybe.
I wonder how much real estate he owns in Sabonis' head after that done.
Now we're going to Charlotte now with Miles Bridges with the mega dunk off the missed three. Just goddamn,
that
was
is
nasty.
impressive.
Look at the bench; they just were absolutely shocked.
That was a superb dunk, but Donovan Mitchell, bang, detonation on Doncic. Welcome to the NBA, mate. That is an absolute poster. Elevation for days. That is a brilliant. That is a brilliant dunk, and you can't see it in that, but Jingles was very excited with that. He was jumping up and down. It was after that dunk he decided to put a headband on. He got so inspired. That's where the headband. That's where it all started.
Okay, now we've got some of the lighter moments that happened in the NBA this week. First off, Chris Paul faking out the ref and getting a technical. I believe I don't know if he got thrown out for this one, but then against the Spurs,
he got his revenge.
If I don't fake you, then I can't get technical.
Guess what, mate? Pick the ball up. All right, Dwight Howard, he's been working on his jumper on the off-season, and that is absolute money. But it gets worse for the Wizards, who in the same game failed to inbound the ball in the same quarter twice. The main common denominator, Austin Rivers.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Don't miss you, and yeah, Scott Brooks, not much you can do after that disgusting effort.
Now we got Academy Award winning.
Oh, here we go.
Flop from Rajon Rondo. Give him the Grammy. I mean, no, that's for music. The Academy Award.
Give him the Oscar.
That is the biggest flop I've ever seen.
That's brilliant.
And some great defense. This kind of looks
Jabari.
like when your
Controller
player on
freezes.
2K, the controller dies, and then LeBron just stick
that's
out
just
the leg. That's all he
incredible.
needs to do.
Yep. That is some kung fu fighting.
But he
defense.
could miss that shot as well, so
It worked.
Yeah.
All right, this is a league in Slovakia. The score is tied with 5 seconds left. They have 3 open layups to win and miss every single one of them.
And now we got Kyrie Irving after the
Jamal goes
Jamal
for
takes
50.
a shot. They've already won the game, and Kyrie Irving decides to test his Earth is flat theory by trying to peg the ball as far as possible.
Did it rotate? Did it spin on its axis? We haven't got back to Kyrie yet. All right, the last one. CJ turns the Motor Center into an ice skating rink and takes Dante DiVincenzo for an absolute dance. Oh no,
Ankle.
the Michael Jordan of Delaware just got put on his backside, and CJ has the best play. Now, I wanted to put that one in our top plays, but I thought we'd save it for our weird and wacky moments. Dante, welcome to the NBA, mate. He's no longer hitting every single shot in the NCAA final, he's getting dropped by CJ McCollum, who's done that twice now. He did it to someone else. Can't remember who it was, but CJ has a habit of doing that. All right, that is all we've got for this week's episode. Thank you for watching and listening, and we will see you next week.